It's the next level.
Hit my ship in here.
Listen, I'm not getting in that thing.
Well, to get where we're going, you're gonna have to.
Your fish ship has been marinating in chum butter. I'm gonna come out smelling like swamp butt.
That'd be an improvement.
Amazing. I created you as I created David. It just took longer. 19 years. They almost convinced me I was crazy. I create superheroes. I truly am a mastermind.
Panels to Pixels, Aquaman, and Glass Movies Review. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this week we're actually going to review movies that are out in the theater. Steve and I actually went out and went to go see a movie. Not together, but
no,
we actually, because that's pretty far away. But we actually, you went to go see Glass, and I went to go see Aquaman. I actually went to go see Glass and got some information, and I thought both were really good.
Very cool, very cool. And we might just, before we get too deep into it, we'll let everyone know this is going to be a spoiler-full podcast for Aquaman and Glass. So if you've not seen the movies yet or you don't want to be spoiled about anything, do not listen anymore, because we're going to talk about Mark's going to talk about all the deep stuff in Aquaman. I get it, what I did there with the whole sea thing, ocean. Anyway, he and I will talk about Glass at length because I have a lot to say about Glass. I enjoyed it. So
yeah, both were really good in my opinion. So you start off with Glass.
Okay, I've got some real short notes, and then I've got some stuff that I'll probably interject later on. It was really good. I liked it. I believe this is going to become a movie that people are going to love after multiple watches. Like, I think the first time you watch it, you're going to say it's really great, or you're going to say it's good. But if you watch it again, you're going to see all the more of the subtle things that are in it. And I'm looking forward to seeing it again so that I can look at more of those things. And I think that's kind of what M. Night Shyamalan was going for with these movies. There's callbacks in this movie to both Unbreakable and Split, and there's some deleted scenes that they use in Glass that were not used in the previous two movies that help flesh out the characters. And the trilogy aspect of it is really what intrigues me the most, because it truly is a trilogy. It's just like if you're a Star Wars purist and you love 4, 5, and 6, that is a pure trilogy. Those three movies together, and that's the same with Unbreakable, Split, and Glass, in my opinion, is you have this first movie that kind of establishes our main character. The second movie, it kind of ends on a down note, even though it ends on kind of a down note because the beast escapes and people are killed. But we get that moment of hope at the end of Split when we see David Dunn. And then here, the third part brings it all together. So I think this is going to be one of those movie trilogies that we don't talk about individually. And when I told people about Glass after I saw it, I told them, you need to go watch Unbreakable and Split. There was one guy I talked to who wanted to go see Glass, but he had never seen Unbreakable. And I'm like, you need to watch Unbreakable. You need to watch Split. You need to watch these movies as a trilogy. I truly believe that.
Oh, I agree completely. In order to embrace that whole M. Night Shyamalan experience of this series, you have to watch him. Like, you have to literally watch Unbreakable, then Split, and then go see this movie.
Yeah.
And my feeling would be, once they release this on Blu-ray, they should release it as a trilogy Blu-ray experience or download, so that way people could just binge watch. Because that's what's going to happen with Netflix and everything that we talk about normally. That's what people will do, and I would do that. I would do that in one sitting, because initially when I saw Split, I didn't see it as a sequel to Unbreakable at all until the very end, where you see him and you're like, oh no, this is really another movie that we did not know about. And M. Night actually mentions that in an interview, saying that he had that character in there in Unbreakable, but they told him to cut it down because it was diverging away from the David Dunn character or overseer in this movie, as per se. So, you got to see this as a complete whole, in my opinion. I love the movie. I really do. I really liked it. It was really good. I love that this was the final movie within its own trilogy, a trilogy of movies that we didn't know we would have after Unbreakable.
Yeah, kind of like a mystery trilogy we didn't know was going to be a trilogy.
I thought Unbreakable was a great standalone movie, but never imagined that Split would be a sequel till I watched it at the end. Like I said before, it's you get that one little scene and then you start to realize, oh, this is an M. Night movie. Oh my goodness, this is the second movie. It's amazing. This was the best out of the three movies, in my opinion. But then again, it's a trilogy, so usually the second is the best in trilogies, because if you look at Star Wars, New Hope is like the beginning, everybody loves it, and then Empire is the best, and then Jedi is just Jedi. But in my opinion, is that this was great in the sense that you get to see all three of these characters come together. And McAvoy was amazing with all these personalities. I believe they showed 20 of maybe 21 out of the 24 personalities that he has, and he was able to go from one to the other with just shifting his sweater based on like little mannerisms on each personality. Like he would tuck it, he would tie it in and out to be like a little girl, cover it to be like an older woman, take it off, wrap it around his waist like a hoodie or something to be another personality. All these little mannerisms. He was perfect. I loved the way he was able to go from character to character within just one, pretty much embodiment. It's a horde of people, so
Yeah, and I think that you bring up a great point, and he played that so well. And in Split, we see a scene where he is one personality pretending to be another personality, and the doctor sees through that, and she knows it, that he's the other personality pretending to be Barry. That it's Dennis pretending to be Barry. And in this one, we get to see those shifts, and you can tell. I think even, just like you said, those subtle mannerisms and things in his face that we can even see even when he's in the one scene where he's in the cell and the guy is flashing the lights and he's switching from personality to personality to personality.
Yeah.
Just seamlessly almost, and you can tell there's a difference whenever something happens. So yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, the Beast was amazing. That's all I could say. That's what really attracted me to this movie, because I really like Split. Unbreakable was great because we got that, in 2001?
Unbreakable?
Yeah.
97, 98. No, it was before 2000. I know that.
Correct? Really?
So, yeah, pretty sure. Hold on. I will look that up. Go ahead and go with the rest of yours about Glass.
Well, I'll continue on saying I love that Bruce Willis was not really in it that much. It really was mostly McAvoy-centric and Samuel L. Jackson-centric around those two characters, the basic plot of the villains. And, Bruce Willis's character was the focus in the beginning, and that's where most of the scenes were. It made me think that the Doctor would be another hero or villain herself. We love, Sarah Paulson is incredible in this. I loved her, and what was it?
She was in American Horror Story.
Yeah.
And so 2000. So we were both right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2000, yeah. And you're right. And one of the things that I found really interesting, especially right there at the end, before we get the reveal of what she is I did start to get a sense that there was like you said, like she was going to be some kind of supervillain mastermind as well. Like there were parts in the movie where I thought, is she, does she have some kind of a special power that we're going to reveal? And then of course at the end when she says, "David, touch me," and she knows that his power is going to reveal something to him.
Yep.
I really thought that was in it, and we saw that meeting, and then we get to see that meeting again, from a different point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we get to see at the very end, or towards the very end, the meeting where she's going to move on to the next city where these things are happening before we get the reveal about what happened with Mr. Glass. So.
Yeah, but her character, if you think about it, they mention it. She goes to the comic book shop at the very end of the movie, and you hear a bunch of those comic book, and I hate saying it, but I'm one of them, one of those geeky, nerdy guys, and they're just like discussing about a comic book. And they were talking about the Mastermind, which was like, if you look in the movie, you don't see Marvel, you don't see DC, you don't see anything like that. They actually have mock-ups of comic books specifically for the movie, what they're alluding to based upon comics. So they were talking about a character called the Mastermind, and it kind of like describes her to a T when they're talking about it at the very end.
I can see that.
But that ending, oh my goodness, that was a great scene at the very end. How everything all comes together, the manipulations, everything. And I love how Glass sees, he's sitting there and he's reveling in how he brought everything to be and how he created, Kevin's character or his beast. All these, he goes, it took me 19 years to create this, but I did. And he's reveling in his own creation of him. But yet, he gets attacked by his own creation.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I was thinking about the more and more as I thought about this today that it is a trilogy, but it's not just a trilogy, it's a tragic trilogy.
Yes.
Because we have our three heroes dying at the end. Like I said, this is spoiler full. If you haven't seen the movie, the ending is that this doctor is basically going around covering up the fact that there's superhuman beings on Earth. And so we get the deaths of our three main characters, but we also get the springing hope of, we see our three peripheral characters. We see Joseph, Mr. Glass's mother, and then I can't remember her name, the woman, the kidnapped victim.
Yep.
They're in the train station, and they all are holding hands there at the end when they see this reveal of this email that goes out that hits all these servers, and everybody's suddenly watching it on their phones. It's on TV. Everybody is seeing the character. They're seeing the beast transform. They're seeing what Glass did. They're seeing David Dunn bend the metal. They're seeing all this stuff, and so suddenly, Joseph gets and so you go back to that idea of when Mr. Glass says this isn't how did he put it? He said this is an origin story.
Yes,
it's not their origin story. This is the origin story of all heroes.
Correct.
So I would be excited, kind of like part of me would be excited to see M. Night do another movie in this universe or another set of movies in this universe, but he would have to, come at it from a different angle. But part of me really says, just let it lie. Just leave it out there the way it is, that we now have a world that is similar to ours that has superhumans in it. So like I said, I'm torn between whether I would want, knowing that he's been hit and miss with his career.
Yeah.
No offense to Mr. Shyamalan, but he's kind of been hit and miss. These three, as far as I'm concerned, these three movies just knocked it out of the park.
Oh, yeah.
And especially when you get those deleted scenes that he has in Glass, that he has the scene of Kevin and his mother at the train station waving goodbye to the train. And, I saw an article before I went to the movie. I saw an article that said there was speculation that after the movie Split, that Kevin's father was on that train, because I think in Split, and I'd have to watch it again, that he mentioned something about his father leaving and never coming back.
Yes.
And so there was speculation that the father may have been on the train, and then of course we get that confirmation that was the train. We get the scene where Bruce Willis, where he talks to Joseph, and basically Joseph tells him, "Now I know that you really are a superhero," basically. And then I love what you said about we don't get a lot of Bruce Willis, but we get we get a good bunch of this, this aging kind of where age is starting to catch up with him.
Yep.
Sort of thing. And Glass acknowledges that I can't believe it took, 19 years from this train accident to today for all three of us to come together and for me to realize what it was. And so you get the idea that even though, now don't get me wrong, he's a villain and he's pure evil, Mr. Glass is. What he did, though, was expose the world to the fact that these sort of beings exist and that they're out there. And so that's kind of cool to me. And so, like I said, I'm torn about whether I'd want to see more movies in this universe and how they would tie it all together. But I do love the more and more we see the little subtle things of tying these three movies together. The fact that the girl, if you notice at the end, she works at the zoo now.
Yeah.
And that's where she was kept. And she has the jacket. And I'm assuming that's the same jacket that she wore at the end of Split when they rescued her. So, we get this tie-in of all the movies kind of together, and the only thing that would have made my day would be to see the stockbroker guy and Jeb Unbreakable, and I love the fact that M. Night, his director, what do they call that? His the thing he does in every movie.
Oh, his cameo.
His cameo. Yeah, he inserts his cameo into every movie, and he was able to take that character and reveal that it's the same character in all three. All three movies. He's the guy who was at the stadium. He's the guy in Split who was the landlord, and now he's here in Glass buying the security equipment and stuff. So it's really cool to hear that and get those callbacks and to see that he was able to take one of his trademarks. That's what I was looking for. Director trademark of inserting him into his own movie. And actually all three of these movies, it was the same guy. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's almost like a Hitchcockian thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Hitchcock used to do that all the time, put himself in his own movies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other directors and producers are trying to do that for years, but it seems like he's doing that himself perfectly, where he's not a main character or anything. He's just a side character that you just see and you go, oh, that's him. And it's amazing to see him. And the fact that, like you said, that it's the same character. He goes, when he was buying the security stuff and he was talking to the son about it, and he recognizes, was it David or Jason?
David Dunn. He recognizes him
as a security guard.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, he talks to the fact that when he was a kid, when I was younger, I used to run around with a bad crowd and I used to do drugs." And he says, "Oh, and you stopped me at the stadium one time. You thought I had drugs, but I didn't have drugs that day." I love the way he put that in there because it kind of one of the things that scene did for me anyway was it was one of the only thing that we saw in Unbreakable that seemed kind of like it was almost a point of where David started to doubt himself a little bit in Unbreakable, and he was wrong about that. And so now here he is, 19 years later, getting the confirmation from this guy that, well, yeah, maybe I didn't have drugs that day, but I did do that before. And so David actually, it's kind of a backward, confirmation to David that he's been doing the right thing this entire time, and I loved, there was one thing there too with the doctor that was just her level of observational skills was really good, because when she was trying to get David to doubt his abilities, she says, here's the clothes that Kevin was wearing, and he's got the red mud on the sweatshirt, the sweatpants. And she says, maybe what it was it isn't that you have some sort of superpower. Maybe it's just that you noticed this red mud and you noticed a adult man acting like a child, and you knew from the news reports of the Beast that he had multiple personalities and one of them was a child, and you'd heard the thing maybe about one of the bodies that had red dirt on it, and so you put it together that this might be the guy. You don't actually have superpowers, David. You're just a very observational, kind of detective. And so she suddenly starts to get David to question himself as well. And which is interesting to me, because we've seen him do some really incredible things that are way over the top. And for her to have that level of manipulation, like you said, it does give you an idea that maybe she had some sort of a superpower, that she's able to manipulate these guys like that. And she says we don't know what other cities she's done this in,
and she does this as well with Kevin too, about his personalities and what he could do as the Beast,
right?
When like bending the bars. Oh, those bars were made in like the early 1900s. They were made of this. She goes, I was able to do this with a wrench with some pulling on the back of it, and it was able to bend. All these weird things. Just she makes them all doubt themselves. And in order to basically kibosh the idea that they are superhuman beings. Is that her power? Is that she's trying to destroy all superhuman beings? It's kind of interesting. And as you said before, at the very end, she's doing these meetings and she's trying to rally people against or get them together to create some sort of organization to end or rid people of superheroes or super beings.
Yeah, it seems like either she's doing that, or the organization is already together and she's just
the spokesperson.
She's their enforcement arm, kind of, because you notice like she had that same tattoo as the cop who killed David had. They both had that cloverleaf tattoo on their wrist.
See that. Wow.
Yeah. So at the end, if you notice when the cop is pushing David into the puddle of water, we see on his wrist, you see a little cloverleaf tattoo kind of thing. And then when there's one point a little later when we see her hand and she has the exact same tattoo on her wrist. So it tells us that there's this organization out there that at least to me, what is revealed is that there's an organization out there that wants to not let the world know that these guys are out there. So
that's a good catch. That's almost like S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
Marvel,
exactly. Exactly. That's why I said at the beginning, I said, this is one of those movies that I think, just like Unbreakable and Split, that we're going to go back and you can watch it and rewatch it and you'll see the subtle things in there, so.
All right. So I got a quote.
Yeah.
From that.
Share your quote.
All right. This is a quote from Glass. The doctor, who Sarah Paulson plays, says, "Comic books are an obsession. Have you been to a comic book convention? They sell teen TV shows there. They're selling things there. Your friends and family lost their perspective. Your dad is trying to fight her abductor. Your son is trying to best his dad. He's the anarchist. He's the brains. He's the reluctant hero. This sounds familiar, doesn't it? Comic books are not valid history." Which is pretty funny considering that if you look in our history, there's always good against evil. There's always somebody that's going to be the hero or somebody who's going to be the villain. Even in the Bible, there's certain things that could be referenced as good and evil. And you see it's cyclical. It's something that happens in our world and what we see around us. And I think that's why we're attracted to comic books. But I love how she breaks it down, and it sounds so crazy.
Yeah, I love that because you bring that quote up, and as you read it, I remembered where that quote came from, because that is when she's talking to Joseph, the girl, and Glass's mother, and she's manipulating them. Because, Joseph here has been he's been his father's man in the chair for however many years. And this girl says she saw the Beast do things. And of course, Mr. Glass's mother believes he's special. And so now Sarah Paulson's character has to manipulate them into not believing as well. And it almost makes you wonder if they might have eventually gone after those three characters as well to kind of kill them, to keep them from spreading the story. So, and
that ending, what they were basically, and they used and manipulated and used all the cameras and everything, and it shows up at the very end. I thought that was a great ending in a sense, even though it was very tragic for the three people, that we enjoyed watching over the past three movies. But the people that remain that were close to them are the ones that are trying to bring out the truth.
You know what's interesting is I went to this movie with my best friend and with his girlfriend, and when we walked out, she had never seen the other movie, so we had kind of explained to her what the premise was going in, and she enjoyed it. But at the end, she said something very interesting as we walked out of the theater. She said, "You should have known it had to end that way." Because I think I said something like, it's too bad they had to die. And she went, well, it had to end that way. She said, because just look at it. Look at Bruce Willis as an actor. Look at Samuel L. Jackson as an actor. Now, James McAvoy, he's still young. But, Bruce Willis, if this was going to start a franchise, he's getting up there to where, he's not going to be doing these kind of things much longer, And so she really put it in perspective for me that I went, yeah. And that's when I started to think about the trilogy aspect of it and the fact that it's not it's not a comic ending trilogy like Star Wars where everybody survives. It's a tragedy because that's what if you know much about Greek literature and Shakespeare's plays as well, not just Greek, but any of those plays. That's what they call when they call something a tragedy. They call it a tragedy because everybody dies at the end. Hamlet is a tragedy. Everybody dies at the end. Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy. Everybody dies at the end. When they call something a comedy, it doesn't necessarily mean it's funny. It just means that they don't die at the end. Yeah. So when you talk about tragic and comic kind of plays and when you talk about a comic or a comedy, it's doesn't necessarily mean it's a funny thing. It just means that they live at the end. Or it's not a tragedy. Well, it's pretty funny the fact that they call them comic books, and yet a majority of the comics that are out there are not really filled with comedy. Yeah. Look at Watchmen. Okay. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we should move on to Aquaman. Yeah, what did you think of Aquaman? I thought it was really entertaining. Far better than what Justice League was. DC seems to be really doing well with its own standalones ever since Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman was the platform of being a great standalone superhero movie, obviously because it was the first woman-centric, but now we have Aquaman, and that's man-centric right now. But I thought it was really good. I'm sorry, I'm not into men, so I didn't find Jason Momoa sexy or anything, but he was a great-looking guy. But all the women obviously flocked to that movie, and a lot of women we know, but great for them. But I thought it was very entertaining overall between the comedy, the story itself, definitely the action in it, the cinematography, the imagery was great based upon that, And the costumes were a bit interesting because they go very much kind of on the classic. You get to see that classic Aquaman suit. Like Steve said before, this is a little bit spoilery. So at the very end, you do get to see that cartoonish Aquaman suit, but it looks really great on the screen on him. It doesn't look like the blonde-haired Aquaman we saw in the Super Friends. But same as with Black Manta. And Black Manta, they actually give him a background and how he became to be. And he's not even the central villain in it. He just becomes another part of it. And I hope they make it because, I would love to buy that Funko Pop when it comes out because it just reminds me of my childhood, being born in the 70s and watching Super Friends on Saturday mornings every Saturday. I was like, oh, wow, because, back at the Legion of Doom, and then you see, Black Manta and all the rest of the guys. The comic element was there, but the visuals were superb. They were great. Where else are we going to see sharks with freaking lasers, man? Not to pun an Austin Powers movie, but they did, and you had, seahorses in there. You had all these different animals. You got the whales. They put a pun against Pinocchio in it, and Blake Lively was really cool in it. I love Dolph Lundgren. He was actually in it. He was one of the kings of the colony in the sea. Oh, wow. Jason Momoa was a great character in itself as Aquaman. Nicole Kidman was his mother in the movie, but this wasn't as cartoony as you would think. So obviously, it did very well for itself. A lot of people were starting to be on that I hated Justice League because we still have that taste in our mouth. But
I thought Justice League was entertaining. This was overall entertaining to me. It really captivated me, and I was surprised and shocked. It was like 2 hours and 27 minutes, and that's a pretty long movie for a superhero movie. And now, mind you, we're going to get an even longer one when Endgame comes out, and it's probably going to be about 3 hours. But I thought it actually captivated me, wanted me to watch it. Who was Green Goblin? I forget, in the first Spider-Man movie.
Willem Dafoe.
He was in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Willem Dafoe was in it. And I was just like, wow. He's getting up there in years, too.
Yeah.
But he was a great character as well. And like I said, there's a lot of comedic aspects in it. So I was entertained, and I would definitely watch it again. When it comes out on digital download to purchase, I'm there for it. I would definitely get it. Get it on Blu-ray and get the digital copy as well, you know. But I would definitely recommend it. I'm the one that's not into DC-style movies for comics, but I do recommend it. You know, that's why it's making a ton of money.
Well, good. You got a quote from Aquaman?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, the Aquaman quote I have is from Arthur himself. How is it that I can breathe water, but you can still drink me under the table? And he says this to his father. And his father goes, that is my superpower. And his father is human. So it's pretty funny.
Is that Dennis Quaid? Is that right?
No.
No. Who played his father?
I believe he looks a lot like the guy who played Jango Fett.
Oh, okay.
He's definitely Maori, the guy who played him. So definitely somebody who is.
I don't know why I thought Dennis
Hawaii.
Quaid.
yeah, you would think, right?
Sorry.
No. But we get a nice scene after that, which is pretty funny though. The moment after that, we see a bunch of bikers come up to Arthur and ask him if he's the fish boy. He goes, you mean fish man? And he goes, yeah, you're the one they call Aquaman. And they're all tough and rowdy. And then the guy kind of goes, then he asks him, can I take a picture with you? Like a bunch of fanboys.
Nice.
And he goes, yeah. And he's like, yeah, don't touch me. And then next thing you know, it's like a collage, almost like after in the movie The Hangover, you see a bunch of pictures come up, and it's like him arm wrestling the guys. They're all drunk. One guy's passed out. He's got one guy over his shoulder and stuff like that. It's pretty funny though. It's funny to get those little cute little segues inside it in the movie, and you know, Marvel does that from time to time, but this was a little bit more extreme, but I think DC hit it with a little bit more of the comedic element, a little bit more on the fantasy side with like the animals within the water. But I think, like I said, overall the movie was pretty cool. I thought I had a good fun. So on Comic Talk, what I got basically, I spoke to Jerry Ordway. He is a Superman artist that lives locally near me. He actually did the Superman or Action Comics 1000 last year. He drew in it, and he did one of the covers. So we had a conversation about Shazam and about the new trailer that dropped, and how in the very beginning I was a little bit skeptical. He said, yeah, it was a little bit weird. And then now we're starting to see, and he goes, he goes, they got the comedy in there pretty much like Aquaman, and now they got this, and he goes, I think it really captures the idea of who Billy Batson is and who Shazam is.
Yeah, the trailer looks really good. I'm excited.
Yeah, so both of us wanted to see the movie once we saw the new trailer that just dropped. Plus, we can't wait for Detective Comics 1000 to come out. Like I said before, Jerry did the art for Action Comics 1000. So these are two that DC has done. Marvel has been reissuing or redoing their issues. Like with Spider-Man, they ended it and then they restarted again, like Amazing Spider-Man and stuff like that. DC has kept these going. So now we're getting like 10 different variants of Detective Comics 1000, and it's an official release, and that's coming out in March. and I
that's
can't
amazing.
wait for that to come out. So it's amazing. Batman Who Laughs #2 came out this week. I just read it. A really great plot twist in it, and I really do suggest.
So, what is that one about? Is that an alternative Batman who's the Joker also, or?
It's basically, if you think about with Marvel, they have different dimensions or universes. Basically, think of Batman, who's the extremist, who goes completely dark. He's got a visor that has like spikes on it, and he's got shredded teeth, and he just goes. He's basically killing people and who are doing bad, and he just goes to the extremes. Whereas Batman has, in this kind of world, which is the original Batman, if you think about it, he is the one that brings people to justice. So where we last left off, where spoilers if you didn't read the comic, you gotta read it. Definitely read it.
Well, yeah, no, hold up, because I want to. This sounds interesting to me, so I may check it out and see if I can. But I just wanted to see what it was. So it's an alternative universe, like an alternate universe Batman.
Yeah, that comes into Batman's universe and is taking action upon himself.
Oh, okay.
And he gets in, and the real Batman from that universe gets infected with Joker's laughing gas, and I won't go into how that happens because that's the ender. But then this new one picks up, and you think something happened, and at come halfway through the comic, you're like, "What? Whoa, that's a different plot." It's just changed, so it captivated me. And I'm not really much of a DC comic person, but this is definitely one, just like Doomsday Clock is for me too. So I definitely recommend it for those people that are interested, because it's a different take on the Batman series.
Sounds like it.
So. Yeah, so this was fun. We actually got to talk about movies that we saw in the theaters, and that's current.
Yeah.
I love this idea. So we'll get to do that soon with Marvel stuff. So that way we could pepper it in with what we have for the regular Netflix watches.
Absolutely. So should we go into what we're looking for next week?
Definitely.
So next week we will we begin our review of Punisher Season 2. The whole season is dropped. If you're not aware, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably are aware. And but we are going to do 2 episodes a week. So next week, the deadline for feedback will be January 31st. And we'll be doing the first 2 episodes of Punisher Season 2. Mark will be watching a little bit ahead. I don't know if he's going to watch the whole thing.
I'll be there.
He's going to have a perspective of the whole season, whereas I'm going to stay with just the 2 episodes a week to kind of keep that in focused into just those 2 episodes and still kind of be in the dark as to where the series is going. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. I love Josh Stewart. He was a recurring character on a show, Criminal Minds, that I really enjoy. And so I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'm looking forward to seeing our cast of characters come back. And I'm really looking forward to seeing a different aspect of the Punisher.
Oh, definitely. I'm about 4.5 episodes in. I'm going to watch the rest of episode 5 and then go on to 6 tonight. I've not been binging it like all the way through like I have been in the past. I've been trying to let it soak in, which is pretty cool. So I'll have it done by the end of the week. But my recommendation to everybody else, we've gotten some feedback on our Facebook page. So if you want to submit any feedback like that for the first 2 episodes of Punisher Season 2, please do so. Just leave them right on there. I left a few posts recently. You can just throw them on there. We'll read them as they come. I believe I put up a cool picture of John Bernthal as the Punisher standing out there in the middle of open daylight with a bloody Punisher vest on and with the gun in hand. And it's focused in on him and everything's all blurred out. I thought that was a great shot, whoever took that. So throw it on there, and a lot of people have already. A couple of friends of ours. If you guys could do so, that would be awesome. We'll read them out, we'll give our commentary on it, and we'll go from there, man.
Yeah. So to submit your feedback to us, you can go to our Facebook group that Mark was just talking about, which is www.facebook.com/panels2pixels. or you can email us at panelstopixels1@gmail.com. That's panels to pixels, 2 spelled out, and the number 1 at gmail.com. Send us a voicemail. We'll play your voicemail on the podcast as well.
Yeah, definitely. We have the capability. If you email it to us, I'm able to play it. So where else can listeners hear us, Steve?
Well, you can hear me right here, of course, and I send in various feedback to Podcastica and Next Level Next Level Radio Online Network podcast, as well as I was just on a roundtable discussion for the Star Trek Discovery talk through, which is hosted by Brian Malash, and I send feedback to them as well. And he and Ruthie are doing a great job of hosting that, of doing that podcast, and that is on Golden Spiral Media, which Mark, don't you have a show on Golden Spiral also?
Oh yeah, I do. Damn. Yeah, I am the co-host on the Walking Dead talk through with Brian Malash on Golden Spiral Media. As we said last week, we're still gearing up. We're seeing all these things about The Walking Dead. So if you have feedback for The Walking Dead, go to goldenspiralmedia.com/Walking Dead Talk Through. Leave it there, or go through our Facebook page, which would be The Walking Dead Talk Throughs, and that could easily be searched. You could actually find it through here because I'm linked. So definitely throw any ideas and thoughts you have on there. The more the merrier. We are waiting for February to come, and we're getting a ton of trailers and a ton of little splashes from AMC, and we're looking forward to The Walking Dead.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to The Walking Dead coming back. I'm looking forward to getting the chance to guest spot on a couple of other podcasts out there. Fingers crossed, and I'll have more about that when I get confirmation of those things.
Awesome. Definitely. You'll get to hear more of Steve. And you'll hear a little bit more of me come next month. So, with that, thanks everybody for listening. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this was Panels to Pixels. Good night, everybody.
Good night.